A pilgrimage for UFO enthusiasts to mark the 50th anniversary of the Roswell Incident, when some say an alien spacecraft crashed in the desert. The U.S. Air Force says its latest report closes the case on Roswell.
We're confident once the report is out and digested by the public that this will be the final word on the Roswell incident.
The truth, according to the Air Force. Sightings of flying saucers were weather balloons. As for the bodies of aliens,
bodies observed in the New Mexico desert were probably test dummies that were carried aloft by U.S. Air Force high-altitude balloons for scientific research.
And then there's a base in Nevada some call Area 51.
There is a facility in Groom Lake, Nevada. Quite frankly, I have no knowledge or expertise in the matters. I understand there are classified things that go on there, and that's all I have to say about it.
The top-secret airbase rivals Roswell in its UFO hype. But David Mattingly has looked beyond the alien phenomenon. For nearly 2 years, he's been investigating a very human story about this secret place known as Area 51.
I've seen some weird stuff, like little lights flopping around the sky.
They're working with unearthly technologies out there, alien technologies.
The most important thing to remember is when you go over there, when you see a sign, do not pass the sign.
Nevada Highway 375 shoots across the high desert landscape in what seems like an endless straight line. It might as well be a road to the Twilight Zone because it takes us to a place that doesn't exist. Somewhere beyond these mountains, 2.5 hours outside of Las Vegas, there is a secret airbase where spy planes like the Stealth Fighter and the Blackbird first tested their wings. Outsiders have come to know it as Area 51, the perfect place for a government to keep its secrets and allegedly the perfect place to commit a crime.
I think you'd be shocked at the abuses of human rights, working conditions in the environment, well, most definitely about the protection of the environment.
Base workers risking imprisonment came forward to tell us how government contractors allegedly used Area 51 as a secret dumping ground. They describe how under armed guard, truckloads of hazardous waste were dumped into large open trenches and set on fire.
The flames and the black, blue, and white smoke would form clouds. It was so thick. And if the wind was blowing your direction where you were working, you got it all.
The workers tell us they developed health problems after breathing the smoke. They say their complaints were ignored and requests for protective clothing were denied.
They put thousands of people in jeopardy. And they don't care. I used to think the government cared, but I don't anymore.
Helen Frost learned that her husband, Bob, a sheet metal worker, was often ordered to enter the trenches unprotected to retrieve burned materials. After working at the base for 7 years, he developed some unexplained rashes. Sometimes they were so severe, his skin would crack open and bleed.
And everybody could see that he was gradually deteriorating. And there was nothing we could do. We didn't even know why or what was causing it.
In 3 years, Bob's body was covered with painful open sores. Sworn to secrecy, he could not tell doctors about the burning or about the smoke that he was breathing. It's a secret that Helen believes may have cost him his life.
He asked me if he could die. He came to me one day, he said, I can't take it anymore. Because I kept telling him, you've got to hang in there until we find out what's wrong. And he just said, I can't do it anymore. And he died that day. So that's what it's like.
After his death, Helen Frost says she contacted a base manager who denied there was any burning of classified wastes. But tests on tissue samples from Bob's body would tell a different story. They revealed he was exposed to substantial quantities of chemicals containing dioxins and furans, and that continued exposure to smoke could result in the above normal levels found in his tissue samples.
This case is whether the government will police itself the way it polices corporations. And let me tell you something. If this was a corporation, there'd be people going to jail right now.
Law professor Jonathan Turley represents several injured base workers and the widows of 2 who have died in a suit against the military. But how do you sue a base that doesn't exist?
We've only asked one question in discovery, and that is, what is the name of this facility?
And what did they say to you?
They said that we don't understand the question.
What's the big deal about making the government admit that it exists?
Once you admit that the base is there, you become liable for any crimes that may have gone on there.
Glenn Campbell quit his job with a computer company to work full-time uncovering the inner workings of Area 51. He founded the Area 51 Research Center.
How long have you been looking into this base?
I've been here for 2 years.
And what do you know about what happens in that base? How much do you really know?
I really don't know. I know the physical layout of the base. I know some of the routine procedures of the base. But I don't know what's going on in there, and frankly, a lot of the workers don't know what's going on in there.
Outside the base's veil of secrecy, conspiracy theories abound, and speculation takes on near comical proportions. Just down the road from Campbell's trailer, we find the tiny desert town of Rachel, Nevada, home of the little alien.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
What do you think goes on out there?
There's things over there that would boggle anybody's mind.
And I think there's a lot of aliens out there.
You see a lot of different things that sometimes is not wise to talk about.
Are the aliens studying us, or are we studying them? That's my opinion.
The inn sees hundreds of customers a year, drawn by a dark curiosity that's fed by stories like that of the injured workers.
Now it will be America's easiest to find secret base.
Campbell dismisses the UFO speculation as nonsense. He calls himself an advocate for greater openness. We followed him and about 30 other amateur spies to a ridge on public land, where part of Area 51 was actually exposed to public view.
What do you think is hiding behind that ridge?
Jimmy Hoffa.
The plan is simple. Just make yourself comfortable and enjoy the view.
Here, honey, or over there?
Oh, can I get one?
Sure.
I can see some of it right now.
Yeah, I can see him.
With a pair of binoculars, the nondescript buildings and hangars are surprisingly easy to see.
Government gets a spy on us all the time. Now we can spy back.
But as it turned out, we weren't the only ones lurking in the desert that day. Guards in white vehicles appeared in the distance, watching us as we watched the base.
And he's looking at us?
He's looking at you, actually.
As long as Area 51 remains secret, there's no obligation for it to obey the environmental laws, the labor laws, or the worker right laws that everybody else has to obey.
Not long after our sightseeing trip, the land where we were able to view the base was closed to the public, and the government has closed ranks as well. The lawsuit filed by the workers has been cut off at nearly every turn, from the courts to the office of the president.
And the question is why? You know, why is the government trying so hard to protect the people that committed these crimes? I've got 2 dead clients. I've got 2 people who died. It's not a joke. It's not an exercise. And yet the Justice Department treats this like some type of legal tennis game. And it's got to stop.
Neither the Justice Department nor the military will comment on the case, but Turley says he and his clients have been threatened with arrest and imprisonment for making their complaints public. The fear now is that proceedings will drag on for so long that more of the workers will end up like Bob Frost, unable to live long enough to see their day in court.
If they don't clean up their act, every one of them's going to end up with cancer or something. They're going to die.